There is no better time to start working towards something more than what you're currently living than right now. Up until this point, you've probably been wasting a lot of time going on meaningless side quests, starting a million different things and completing none of them. The first reason you're not rich right now is because you're addicted to wasting time. And the thing that you need to break your addiction to wasting time is just one goal. Setting a goal generally starts by finding something that you want, and that becomes an extrinsic thing. That's something to strive towards, to have, to buy, to go to. As you start striving towards this goal, you'll start to realize the more human intrinsic motivation and the real reason why you want that thing. This is a practice of setting a priority in your life. But once you decide what you want, everything else will start to fall in line. And I've experienced this personally. My name's Jacob Carlisle. I run one of Australia's fastest growing businesses, and I paid off my house at age 23. And I did it by breaking these 5 addictions that were holding me back from achieving my true potential. Which brings us to addiction number 2. I was addicted to getting distracted. Early on in my entrepreneurship journey, I had a goal to be an influential figure in the personal finance space. The only problem with that was I had all these different avenues that I started to go down in order to try and get me to that goal instead of learning how to focus. I was running this podcast, I started a t-shirt business, I was going to networking events, and then I thought I was going to be really clever and decide to write a book. In theory, all these things could have really worked together to help achieve my goal, but I compartmentalized all these different channels in my head, which stopped me from being good at any of them. The distractions in front of you may not be a podcast or writing a book, but they could be like doom scrolling on your phone for hours without even knowing, or spending your Friday nights out in the clubs. It's one thing to have a goal, it's another thing to put away all distractions to focus on achieving it. I broke this addiction by going all in on one thing and one thing only, by deciding to burn the boats, and that if I wanted to get to this goal, there was no option to fail. I stopped the podcast, I threw out all my t-shirts, and I stopped producing content so that I could go all in on this business. The next addiction that I turned my attention to was my addiction to spending money. When I worked in corporate finance, I'd have my hour lunch break every day, and I'd fill in time by just going to the shopping center. And typically when you're going to the mall, you're not going there to save money, you're going there to spend money. I'd catch myself spending money on useless stuff and then justify it to myself by thinking that it was going to make me better at my work. Things like new stationery, new things for my desk setup to make me more efficient and ergonomic and better at my job, when none of it actually mattered. I needed to take control of this feeling that if there was money in the bank, I needed to spend it. I needed to get rid of it out of my life. I replaced the spending money addiction with the self-improvement addiction. So instead of going to the shopping center at lunchtime, I would go for a walk around the block and listen to a podcast. I was always reading something new. Books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, High Performance Habits, Atomic Habits, some of the greats. This taught me to respect my money by not even giving it the opportunity to leave my wallet. As I journeyed on this self-improvement path, I then fell into the next addiction, which was the addiction to lying. When you feel like you're going in the right direction, you want to tell people about it because it makes you feel good. Everyone studies, and there's science behind the fact that if you tell people about what you're doing, you get that dopamine hit the same as if you'd actually done that thing. So I became addicted to telling all these people that I was doing these great things without following through on any of them. You probably know someone like this if you're not that person yourself. That person who's always on the grind, that person who's always got something coming up but they can never tell you about it. I was making people think that I was awesome, but behind the scenes, I was actually achieving nothing, which is why I had to learn to get addicted to winning in the dark. There's this photo of Kobe Bryant training in his pajamas. No one knew about it, no one was there to help him or coach him, but he would sit there and shoot baskets for as long as it took, for as late as he could, when no one was around. You've got to get addicted to winning in the dark, doing the work with no praise, with no one around, with no one knowing and telling no one, and coming out with the result. You need to enjoy the process of the work itself as opposed to the praise that comes with it. If you've come this far and you move past all these other addictions, there is only one standing in your way, which is the addiction to fear. We're at a stage in our company where we get presented with new business opportunities all the time. It had only been 6 months since we'd bought one real estate business before we were presented with the opportunity to buy another. The feeling was that it was too soon. We hadn't properly integrated this last acquisition before taking on the next one. Merging businesses, properties, and clients, as well as teams together, takes a lot of time and a lot of energy. And we just weren't sure if we could do it again so soon. We felt the fear and we did it anyway. We took it on, and integrating that second business in such a short time frame was really hard. Our to-do list went from 100 things to 1,000 things overnight. right. Both businesses had their own problems that we needed to solve to make this integration work. There were points where we thought this acquisition was going to destroy the business. And because we went through this experience, we worked really hard. So hard that we knew how hard we could work without dying. Our team is stronger because of it, our business is better because of it, and we learned how to think quicker and make decisions better. You need to learn how to say yes or no without wrestling over the decision and giving you anxiety. And that's the only way to kill your addiction to fear, by allowing you to take more risks and start to achieve the results that you're looking for.